good, Ken Gardner? It's your boy L. Shay Duke Jackson, back at it again with another collaboration here on the YouTube channel. And today I'm here with my favorite married couple, the Nurse and the Nerd YouTube channel. I'm gonna let them explain what their channel is all about.
First, before we start off, Osha, we want to thank you for allowing us on your platform and showing us love.
And just to formally introduce ourselves, I'm your sis as the nurse.
And I'm Bro Nerd. And we are a young couple pretty much looking to develop a tribe of blue-collar individuals to form strong, successful relationships and marriages.
Yep.
All right, and give them a round of applause because y'all been married at least 4 years. I can't keep nobody for 4 minutes. My relationship be long as a snap, But anyways, thank you so much for just number one, being black, being married, and because most people are black and married, like they don't care enough about anybody else to want to come on here and talk about this shit. So so I'm glad that you do that and let people know that there are young black people out there that are young and married and making it. What made you come to YouTube and create this channel?
Well, with us, it was just scrolling through and seeing on social media so many people talking so badly about each other. It was like, even seeing us, it's like, wow, are we a monolith? Like, what's wrong with us? How is it that we're not having, straight up battles? Oh, black men are not ish, or black women are ish, and we're able to just literally just be two blue collar people falling in love and being able to support each other and making sure that we have each other's back. So with that, we want to make sure that we share it. So many people are having conversations about modern marriage, modern women, modern men. This person is an ish, this person's a dusty, this person's that. It's like, it gets to a point where it's like, well, there's so many back and forth. How is it that we can introduce ourselves to show that, no, not everybody's out here, picketing and fighting each other? And
I think overall, for how things have been going in recent times, we have become somewhat numb. And the minute something goes up, men against men, women against men, women talking bad about other women, there's just too much battle, unnecessary battle, when we really should be spreading proper advice and love. Yeah. And we really want to show from a guy's perspective the value in a strong black woman, and in her case,
the value of a strong man.
Yeah, the value of men. Just pretty much value ourselves more and try to give everyone the tools to help them get a successful marriage and our relationship.
And also too, just making sure you don't lose yourself, because at the end of the day, people are like, oh, once you get married, you now have to put all your divulge and it's that. No, both of you guys go out, you continue to make sure you strive for success, you go out and reach your goals, but it's just as a unit, both monies are coming into one area, and it makes the money even more stronger.
And a lot of things that we do nowadays is thinking it's a competition between a man and a woman if they're in a relationship, when we really should be taking a step back and being each other's cheerleader to help them each other achieve our goals, etc.
Which I wish I was more like y'all, to be honest. I'm very. You guys have set the standard really high. I think a lot of times we don't talk about, black couples, especially in the States that are doing very well. But one of the things I noticed is that you both subscribe to my other channel, but I mean this one guy, Kevin Samuels, right? We all have heard of him. One of the things that he's gotten popular with is talking about these unrealistic dating expectations of black women. Now, obviously, I believe that there are some on the men's sides too. But we were talking a little bit before about the show started, like what we're going to talk about, what are we going to say? And I think what you both have pointed out to me was that on both sides, black men and black women have unrealistic dating or mating expectations that are keeping both groups single. Why do you say that?
For starters, a very common issue that leads to this, because it usually ends up as a domino effect. A lot of people, male and female, walk into when they put themselves out there or decide to put themselves out there, they have the wrong mindset to start off. They keep thinking about what ifs. They keep thinking about the negatives
Yeah.
of what could possibly happen if they find someone, and they tend to always, rate someone on a surface level, and as a result, they get influenced by what they see on social media every day, and that, I think, that contributes to the mind of going in a situation with a wrong mindset, because a lot of people don't understand the saying of taking certain things with a grain of salt and to do your own research instead of taking verbatim what someone tells you they think you should do.
And also, too, just to add on to that, the conversation about the unrealistic expectations, I can't hold you to a certain type of regard, but then in the same intake, like, okay, this is actually something that we talked about before we even got married. Size and weight and type of thing. Listen, I don't want to be with someone. I literally wanted a man that was slender built. I didn't want like a fat guy that was out of shape. Same way with me. He didn't want a woman that was out of shape either. So even before we even got into our successful relationship, it was a conversation of, we got to be real with one another. What do I want? The idea is, at the end of the day, I don't want a man with that is like metamorphosis, because that I just don't want that. But it didn't turn around and I'm like, oh yeah, well, I want a man that has like $3 trillion, and if he doesn't have this, I can't date him. Well, we do look into the data statistics. A lot of us don't have access to $3 trillion and things like that. So really, what is it that we're actually looking for? Like I said, for me, just in reality with us, when we're being real, I don't feel sexy being out of shape. That's just for me looking at myself in the mirror. And then I can't turn around and think that my man is supposed to continue to find me attractive.
Hello.
And I know people like, oh, well, no, that's, self-serving or whatever. Listen, I don't know where you people grew up at, but I grew up in an area where you needed to look good. It doesn't matter if whatever the number was, you need to look good for yourself. When you walk around, even when you're single, you wear lingerie, you look at yourself to make sure you can stand up. There's something about you. You find value in yourself. So then when you turn around, you have somebody else that's a partner. He's going to be like, oh yeah, my wife is, fine. We go to the party. I want to make sure that I want him to leave within 30 minutes. So having those realistic expectations of like, there's some things that you can be fluctuating about. But there are some things that's out there that you have to also realize for yourself that I'm not secure within it, and I don't find it to where it's something that's important to me. You have, I think one video, a girl was talking about she wanted a man to speak in a specific tongue when he's praying. What are you talking about? You want a God-fearing man, now you want the man to speak in tongue? Man, this is crazy.
And to bounce off of that,
this is really crazy, like for real.
To bounce off of that, another issue that a lot of people do, they mix up preferences with a checklist, or preferences with goals you want to reach. And that's a common mistake when people start going into the dating phase.
And even with the checklist, like you said, you also have to be so much into yourself, understanding that as a dark-skinned woman, not every man when I was dating is going to find me attractive. That's not my concern about who doesn't find me attractive. I don't care. What I'm looking for is to make sure that I find value within myself to understand, hey, as a dark-skinned woman, I'm going to pull whoever I'm going to pull. And then from those people, I'm going to select who it is that I actually want to actually go through life with. Same thing. My husband has locks. Not every woman is going to want someone with locks. But at the end of the day, whomever comes within his circle and his range, he's able to say, oh, I want that person or that one. He's not sitting up there crying, oh, yeah, not every black woman wants a nerd with locks with, an accent. We don't care. If you don't want the person, they don't want you. Stop begging people to want you.
Hello.
It's weird.
I'm glad you said that. We're going to talk about that, about stop begging people to want you, because we have a lot of people that have, unrealistic expectations that are chasing some people that they can't get. That happens especially for black men and black women. But let me kind of talk more about this, because we know that with women, like you said, women have a little bit of higher expectations, a lot higher than men, right? You need to make a certain amount of money, you need to be a certain kind of height, and all of this. But for me, what I found out, and shout out to Dr. Tia San Johnson, who I'm gonna have over here, is that a lot of black men, and because I was talking to you guys when I was in Uganda. That's when you guys started following this channel. I was actually in Uganda when you came to Uganda. I noticed that in the black community and amongst African Americans, I know both of you are Caribbean Americans, right? So you're from the Caribbean. I've never been there before, but I know that African Americans, I know that some brothers in America, that's the Caribbean, even though I've never been there. But the guys have absolutely like no expectations. So you have a lot of women that have a lot of high expectations, and then black men just don't have any expectations. They'll take like, as long as she look good. How is that stopping black men from finding a good wife? I mean, I could be wrong. You can see it different than me, but I'm finding out that a lot of black men have no expectations of what a woman should do. How is she a good woman? Have you also noticed that, or is it just me?
No, that the same thing. That does lead to where you're just given now people are like, oh, if you're taking a woman out on a date, it's a simp. And we actually had a disagreement about dating process. When it does come time to go on a date, I've now realized on social media, you have these women that are taking photos of men that are kind enough to take them out on dates and saying, oh, well, I only wanted a free meal. Look how bad he looks. I don't want him. Why would you even go on a date if you're saying that you just wanted a free meal with this person? Mm-hmm. But then again, that's why we even had a disagreement where he was like, oh, if you take a woman to a park or if you go on a coffee date, it's not a date. I'm like, I totally understand what you're saying. But now seeing how a lot of people are just using people for a meal, I can kind of understand. So it is that idea, like you said, when you do have certain things where as if you just like pick, I don't want to be anyone's pick anything. Where it's like, oh, I have no type of standards. I'll just take anything that's walking. Well, then that's why a lot of people are just choosing trash because you're just picking anything. When you do have certain standards, there are things that you're supposed to see within that person where it tells you, hey, thick and thin, it's not a guarantee, but thick and thin, that person's going to be there for me in the long shot. That person's going to be there to not build me into a person, but be that supportive role to let me know that whatever it is that you say that you're going to do, like if he says he wants to, I don't know, whatever he says he wants to do. Oh, actually, I don't know. My baby has now, congratulations, we are celebrating this weekend. He is now a cyber security engineer.
What?
Now, with that being said, yes, I'm so excited.
Round of applause.
So that's been his goal. There was nothing that I made him look into this and that. That's not my place.
And she didn't have to stop her goals before she met me, or I didn't have to stop my goals when I met her. And that's, like I said, that's a very common misconception and a big mistake that a lot of millennials do nowadays.
So with that also being said, making sure that you choose someone that's going to continue to push you. The goal that he already had set for himself, I saw him being nothing but that, or being even bigger than that. So what it was like, babe, I know you can do this. What can I help you? Can I help you during study time? Can I do this? Can I make sure you got a hot meal? Make sure breakfast, whatever you need, I'm there for you. But again, I'm not building a man. His parents did a very great job with that. You just support him.
Let's talk about that because some people do have parents, and I know that you guys have a really growing couples channel and things like that, but even in Africa it seems to be a little better, but I see the problem is also persisting where you have a lot of men and women that are coming from homes that they have not seen marriage. So if the nurse and the nerd is to, like, let's say, blow up on Black YouTube, then you're going to have 85% of people watching you who parents have never been married. So then it's easy if your parents have been there and helped you here, and because I had both my parents at least till I was like 15 or 14 and something like that. So when they divorced, it still hurt, but I at least was able to say something. But you have some people that never saw a strong, a strong idea of what a black man should be, and and then you have a lot of women that think that they're independent, they don't need no man, stuff like that. How are you going to help a lot of our people who are coming from some communities, not just African American? You have a lot of Afro-Latina communities, Afro-Caribbean communities that they've never seen marriage and they don't understand how it works. And it's a day in and day out thing. How can you get these people interested into marriage when they have never seen it and don't come from that kind of background?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, I will say my take on it first. I know everyone is not as fortunate as we were to have a two-parent household.
Okay.
But for that matter, what I always tend to stress is you still have two parents, whether they're together or not.
Right.
People have to find a way, in my opinion, to there's got to be a positive from both sides of the spectrum. Take all the positive from each parent combine that and forge it to your own individuality and forge your own path.
Right.
That's pretty much the starting point, in my opinion. Don't always focus on the negative things my mother said about my father, or the negative things my father think about my mother. I don't care what situation, whether you're with a single father or a single mother, it is not going to be every single waking hour is going to be a terrible experience. There is going to be positivity. Like they always say, where there's dark, there's light, and vice versa. So they got to find a way, especially in our day and age, to take all the positive outcomes or, points that their mother or father trained them as they were growing up with either player or whatever time they spent with either parent, and then combine it and then put their own take, do their own research, and forge their own path. And I think that's the stepping stone, like step one to significantly reduce single parent homes.
And also, if I may add, as much as I don't like it, when you are looking at these rappers or these celebrities and things, I've never experienced, drug situations, but it's kind of weird to me that even if you didn't grow up in those type of households, you then turn around and you can identify yourself to be a plug. You could identify yourself to be a rapper, to be the hit man, to be the hot girl. So if you can identify that based off of a television that you've never even met these people, so you've never even done it yourself, you're not a killer, you're not taking out anyone. So if you can take that, why is it that you can't take where with us, again, we're not selling you flowers and lilies and roses, but what we are saying is take an internal identification within yourself. Don't sit up here and be like, oh, I'm so fabulous, I'm so amazing. Listen, all of us are great. We are, the identity of God, but at the end of the day, everyone has stuff that they need to work on. So being able to understand that dynamic, and it does not give you now a clock to say, oh, well, I'm just human and I'm not perfect. And because I didn't have this parent or that parent, it's made me into like Babe said, you take positive points from that. And then from there, you grow within yourself. But again, like you said, what would make it to where being able, again, we would like that people would follow us, but also understand we are connected through a camera lens. You're not physically there with the person. So don't look at us as your mom and your dad. Like that's definitely, that's not an idea that we're trying to do, but be able to have like an example to be able to have like conversations to start the conversation with.
And as we mentioned before, one of our biggest goals for our channel is to give those less fortunate individuals out there that didn't find someone they love yet the tools, or if you want to say blueprints for that matter, to get to lead them on the path of a successful relationship or marriage. Because we all know marriage isn't for everyone, but it doesn't mean you should sit down on your haunches and say, well, as I said before, start thinking about what ifs, start thinking about what negative things can happen, and already going defeated in a mindset when you finally decide to put yourself out there. That's a big starting point that ends with a huge domino effect.
And even with the marriage aspect, again, we're not walking advertisements that, listen, marriage is the key to your success, to the ending goal of dreams and stuff. If you marry the wrong person, it could be a nightmare. But even with that, we're not even getting to the point of marriage. Can we at least have a successful relationship? You've got people that have been single for 10, 17, 20 years. People out here doing bids literally at their house. Like, you've been single for like that. That don't even make no sense. So we want you to stop doing these prison sentence bids. Please stop it. There's some great, amazing men out here. There's some amazing women out here. If you sit up here and you paint everyone with the same brush, you're not going to be able to see that you've come around some quality, solid people that if they were given one or two little, pots of encouragement and a little bit of support and a hot meal, they'll, give you the dream. You the life that you're looking for.
And another bad habit that we have, bounced off of what she said, a lot of us tend nowadays to base our previous experiences and make it cement in our head and go into putting ourselves out there to the next person, bringing that emotional baggage with us. And that's not fair for yourself, and it's not fair for the person, whoever you may meet, male or female. It's not fair. You got to be able to, okay, maybe this didn't work out. Let me take a step back. Maybe I have to reevaluate something. And if you reevaluate and find everything you did was, the proper way to do things,
Mm-hmm.
Then if another person comes on with similar traits, not
Mm-hmm.
all of the previous, but similar traits, don't just shut them down. You gotta do your research, do your own
Right.
research. We have a habit of going on social media and think everything's set in stone and trying to follow these things verbatim that we see on social media.
Remember,
Right.
not everyone's toxic. Sometimes you actually might be the poison. So just, you know.
You know, I want to say this because, you know, I never, I know marriage and traveling to Africa is not the same. Marriage takes a lot of work, but you know, before going to the continent, I was like always thinking like I would go to like Brazil, someplace like that, and I always thought like, man, you know, you'll get robbed out there. I don't really like any Africans in the United States. I'm gonna have problems. I'm gonna get out there, just like you're saying. I'm just telling myself these things that don't exist until when you make the effort to actually, you know, go see for yourself. And then I saw other people that were doing it. I was like, okay, well then, you know, okay, well then I can experience this, and I can see that with your channel because we don't really promote a lot of successful young Black people being married. And you know, my expectations were set when I experienced Africa. You know, I know that I could get malaria. I know that I could, you know, be safe with your phone. So I kind of had my expectations were set. One thing I like about your channel is you're setting the expectations. So people are saying, oh, there are young, educated Black people. They look like me. They can relate to me. You know, the personality is the same. Okay, the expectations are set. I see the value and how they're working together, stuff like that. And I think that's a great thing because even if you don't come from those places, like my parents were not entrepreneurs, or my parents didn't do what I'm doing. They were more conventional. But when I see the expectations of how to do it, then it's easier for me to follow. And I think a lot of young people, or just people in general, they just don't see the value. But when I look at your channel, I'm seeing that, okay, this is how teamwork is supposed to look. I understand that there are issues, but I understand that there's more value in it. I think what you're doing is great because a lot of people just don't see the value and the expectations have been set. And I think it makes people more interested because let's be honest, like you said, you know where you're going to get being by yourself. Be usually miserable, poor, nothing. But when you have the teamwork element and, you know, kind of that built around your infrastructure, it makes a big difference. Let me kind of get into this because, you know, we talk about a lot of hurt and people going into different situations. You know, like you hear a lot of women say they don't want no, she doesn't want any drama, like not baby mama drama or anything like that. But what I'm trying to say is I'm getting old. She doesn't want a guy with mommy issues. That's it. Okay. Daddy issues. Guys who are coming to the relationship with those problems. How do you get rid of that baggage that you have from bad experiences going to the next level?
Well, before answering that, one thing that you just recently said about a lot of these men or women are finding themselves lonely, there's also an aspect with me being in healthcare. It's nothing that I find to be even more sad being a Black woman, not even just being a Black woman, just being a Black person. Literally, these people, if they've been by themselves this whole time, never having someone to support them, if they do get a diagnosis of it may be cancer, it might be there's like a number of other things that could be transpiring. That person, it may not even be cancer, so we're not even gonna get to that. It could be anything.
Right.
That person then literally lets themselves go because they don't have someone in their corner where that person says, hey, we're gonna go see 5 other doctors that's up the street that specialize in something else. We're not giving up on you. I don't care what that person says. Let's go find some other treatment options. Right. So when you have that and that person now really and truly, once you get certain diagnoses, people do fall into depression. You have to also understand, as a healthcare worker, I've only known you for whatever amount of time. I hate to sound so crass, but I only know you for the amount of time that your insurance is providing me to get to know you. It's not one of those back in the day systems where you can sit in the hospital for 2-3 weeks and you have all this social work and all these. There's none of that. What it is the time limit that we can help diagnose these and get you in whatever that treatment is. But when you have family that's there, or a husband or a wife or someone that's in that relationship, that person really is gonna, between therapy is probably like 30 minutes to 40 minutes every other day, depending on the insurance. So with that, When you're in bed, hey, let's get up, let's do a little bit of ADLs based off what the therapist showed me. Let's hold yourself on my shoulder. Let's pivot you. Let's get you to the restroom. And there's nothing that's even more saddening when you are having a bowel movement, or you are urinating on yourself because you're not able to get to the bathroom so quickly because healthcare workers are dealing with other people. So they're trying to get there with you. But when you have a husband or you have a wife that's there, or someone that's in a long-term relationship with you, they're able to bathe you. They're able to nurse you. They're able to help you with that. And when your final dying moments, and all of us love to think that we're superhuman, no one's going to die. But when those dying moments are, you could be, passing away in 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. It's not a guarantee that when you turn 80, that's when you're dying. It's not that. But when those moments do happen, you want to be able to, in a sense, have someone that reminds you of the good times. They don't remind you about all the horrible things, because at the end of the day, there's nobody there for you. So all these things are going through your mind. When you have someone that's there, they can remind you, hey, we did this. You remember when we went away on this trip? You remember when we did this? You remember when we got in this argument about paint color on one side of the house? It was so stupid that you both will start laughing, and you start realizing that there are some things that's transpired in life. It could have not been so perfect, but at the end of the day, you had somebody that was there with you. So what you just said about the loneliness aspect is not just loneliness. You don't have anyone to Netflix and chill with. There's loneliness when you're sitting on the hospital bed, and it's serious.
That's a great point. Go ahead, brother. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, to bounce off of that, this goes to another fact that a lot of us have a mindset that there's something called perfection, and is a fairy tale and a myth, because the way I look at it, life in general is a journey. Without you making mistakes, you don't have no real life experiences. If you don't make mistakes in life, you will never learn, and you won't make yourself stronger. So we need to get out this habit of thinking, oh, this gotta be the perfect woman, or this gotta be a perfect man. There's no such thing. If you're in a relationship, or if people are looking for a relationship that has no argument, no disagreements, something is wrong. And in reality, because we don't like to sugarcoat stuff, in reality, we got to realize that it's okay when you find out someone to have differences. It's okay to have different hobbies. It's okay to have different goals. We always tend to beat down our own selves, and then it leads us to this domino effect of thinking this person has to be such, and we never learn anything. If you're in a relationship that has no sort of disagreements or no argument, then you're not really living.
But again, even with that, we're not saying you're supposed to be having duel matches every day of the week. You're not doing that. But you are making sure that you do have respectable disagreements. Right. And even with that, there are times where I'm just not going to agree, or he's just not going to agree. Okay, well, fine. As long as we made our points, and whatever it is, keep it moving. Again, you're not having duel matches and no one is beating on each other. You're not doing that, but you are understanding that this is not a computer. I can't program him into what code that I want him to be. Like I said, with the young lady talking about, she wants someone that's godly and holy, and he needs to be able to pray in this type of dictation, say this. What is this? And like Babe said, there's no one that is perfect, but you can find the right match for yourself and enjoy it too.
No, that's absolutely true. Let me ask you this, because I'll be 40 soon, so I mean 40 and under. What we're seeing is a lot of women and Black women that are that are earning a lot of money, opening up businesses. Especially in your blacker cities, if you're going to Jackson, New Orleans, Detroit, to the world, Houston's, Black women are doing really good. And then a lot of the women are looking, because they're educated and stuff like that. And then they're finding out that, there are not a lot of Black men that are doing the same things educationally as me. Although those Black men might be in the service industry, blue collar, tech, stuff like that. And a lot of women don't want to be associated with men who are not in the same caliber of career. Now, I mean, it would make sense for someone to be more like-minded, but how do you go about, because we know it's a problem. If a sister feel like she make more than the brother, it could be an issue, because black women let you know if they make more money than you a lot of times. How do we have that that problem when a lot of women are more educated, not necessarily earning more all the time, but more collegiately educated, and that's causing a division where she might not want to marry or date this man and submit to him because she might be a social worker but he's a plumber, and so that might be that dynamic there. How do we get past stuff like that?
You okay with me answering?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, with that being said, the conversation piece, my title does not make me a better human being or less of a human being.
Okay. What
I am as a core and who I am and what I'm able to bring, again, even my identity as being a wife, Mrs. Such and Such, it doesn't make you, oh, wow, all hail the queen, whatever. It doesn't make me any better. So when you do talk about titles and you do have those, well, good for you. That's great that you went to school and you've achieved those type of goals. But then don't turn around and make it seem as if though, oh, well, that person doesn't have this. If that is what's going to be said on their tombstone, again, when you are going to the last days,
right?
All of this foolishness is not going to be on my tombstone. What's going to be on there is characteristics about who I am, that each one of the people that I've been able to be a part of their life, or they've been able to be a part of my life, that they're able to say, hey, you remember she used to always do this, she used to always do that. The impact within itself, it wasn't based off of, well, she made this type of money, he made this type of money, they had this title, that's what made them. Nobody cares about that. No one really does. And then when you do talk about the blue collar man, you have a lot of these men or women, you have these brothers that are able to, they're chefs. They're not entrepreneurs, but they're able to make these type of, I don't know if you've seen Blue Apron. These people are sending, it's a specific type of subscription box where they send all these type of different foods where you can make a meal off of it. This is the biggest bag finesse that we all can be getting with the whole Saks. I'm sorry. If I said the name incorrectly, but there was some group that's putting a large amount of money investing into Black women. Yeah, this is the biggest finesse that we can get. Literally telling these people, yes, white man, we're going to make sure that as a Black woman invest into me, but in the background, I have my husband or I have the man to be able to back me, and we get in the bag together. I'm literally pouring that money back within our community to get us there. So yes, he may be blue collar and not be an entrepreneur, but at the end of the day, he can be a chef and he can literally host private dinner parties. We've actually went to one recently where everyone is paying into the dinner party like $30 to $40 or $60 to be able to sit down with a group of 10 to 20 people, and that person has your own personal like little tabling area. You cook this 5-course meal, and it is so much fun because it's a group of couples that it's not all these people, and you're around a bunch of Black people, so you're able to cook the type of food that you really want to enjoy. That person may have made $2,000 to like $5,000 just doing a small little dinner party. He's a chef, or he's a cook or something at Outback Steakhouse. He knows how to cook a steak at a perfect temperature, or knows different recipes and things like that. Or even, it's just, there's so many things. Even if he's a carpenter, this man can build a whole wall or refurbish the whole house. And you tripping, right? There's so much great talent that we have, that if we're able to back and see that that person has that, you're not building him. I'm not telling you, oh, you need to do this, that, and that. No, that's something that person has within themselves, is their ambition. But you're able to dust it off to say, hey, you do realize you're much greater than what it is.
Thank you.
You should, to bounce off of that, you should be able to, in these situations, in regards to what you just said, that she commented on, you should be able to train yourself not to have a mindset, like I mentioned before, of thinking stuff as a competition, and just because someone makes less than you, you don't want to give them the time of day. And as she mentioned, the blue collar stuff, we gotta realize that trades and crafts can go a long way. With the carpenter example, hey, you got a carpenter, as whether it's male or female, and you can easily, if you want to redecorate or reconfigure a whole house, you save yourself financial stability because you have to go and spend an arm and a leg for some third party to do the same thing that your husband or wife can do. So we tend to not look at the outcomes on what two people working as a team can create, and busy focusing on numbers too much. It's not a competition. We got to get out this mindset that is a competition or just because a person makes less or more than me, I'm probably not going to be worth their time.
And when we are talking about competition, we do compete in the world. Don't get it twisted as if though we're just two people like here just sitting here. No, when we go out into the world, we compete at the highest level. But when we come back home, there's solace into the home. It's not a competition, like Babe said. It's not a competition when we get into the home. And one thing that really resonated to me is Mona Scott Young. People love, the love and hip hop and whatever foolishness she puts out on to the community. Love it or hate it. At the end of the day, this woman was able to really hone into a market in the industry that other people were able to want to invest in her. Mona Scott Young says this time and time again. Her husband was not working, or I believe he's not working or something like that. She accredits her whole success. She says if it wasn't for her husband, the man that does not work, if it wasn't for him, she would have never been able to accomplish all the things that she's been able to do and be Mona Scott Young. So what is the value that this man was able to bring to where this woman was able to literally go out into the market and just dominate?
Wow. You guys sum that up. So it's been an awesome interview. Unless you had anything else you guys want to add, anything else you guys want to say or talk about, or?
Well, one other thing I'd also we'd like to also make sure that we come across with going on our content. We are going to be talking about those hardball conversations, whether or not we traded in courtship. Everyone wants to be courted, but at the end of the day, people just want currency. We will talk about even the conversation about dating, how skin complexion, it actually gave me a boost, it gave me an advantage when it was dealing with dating. Discussing lingerie, making sure that you find value within yourself. And also, I don't know about you guys, but even as a female, there's a lot of women that they're all into this femininity, have a dress on and wear specific perfume and lipstick and stuff. But a lot of these women, it's like, well, have you even talked about hygiene, going to a gynecologist, making sure that when you are in these long-term relationships, that I know there's a monthly cycle, but you need to make sure the home doesn't smell like that. Making sure that things are being held properly. Making sure that when you are, again, it's not some berries and juices. When you are going to a gynecologist, there are specific things as a Black woman you're supposed to be able to have conversations with your gynecologist about. It's not what makes me feminine is the level of how my voice is or how soft my voice can be, or the fact that I wear dresses or lipstick. No, what makes me feminine is being able to provide solace into the home. Whenever my husband comes home, whenever I come home, we're not over here battling each other. There's also a solace of making sure that the home is kept up. It's not just because, I'm married. It's because even when I was single, I don't like to live in a pigsty. So being able to have those type of conversations and content within our channel, having those real hardball conversations to realize that at the end of the day, you could dress a pig up, but at the end of the day, we're not trying to make you a pig. We're trying to really make sure that you're able to get some great things out of yourself and, let go of the bad ones.
And one additional thing, we want to say to everyone watching, we always tend to see and get used to men and women challenging one another and being disrespectful. Well, we want to challenge you all to come check our content out, where we're not going to sugarcoat anything. We're not going to give you fairy tales. We're going to pretty much give you a magnifying glass to understand that both male and females each have their own things to work on. And there's nothing that's going to be a perfection, or there's nothing going to be stopped when it comes to goal receiving or goal obligations. We just want to give you that tool to understand, really truly understand that we in a Black community, on both sides of the spectrum, both have things to work on. It's no one person has more things to work on than the other.
So checking out our content, a successful relationship, we want to make sure that we provide those type of, again, like Babe said, like my husband said, providing those tools to make sure that you are having successful relationships. And then we'll get to the marriage. But can we at least get a successful relationship?
Let's start with a relationship.
Please, get a relationship.
I really thank you for coming on and providing a level of insight that a lot of us that have never been married would have never thought about those things, especially with the healthcare, the death and dying kind of aspect, and encouraging somebody that might have diseases and things like that. Those are things that we don't really think about. And certainly I really enjoyed this change of pace. Guys, go to the first comment pinned to the top, the Nurse and Nerd YouTube channel. Check them out. You know, they're very, very vibrant. I think the nurse has some really good. She's on Instagram a lot because when I see the Instagram, you know, oh, let's call this live. I'm like, oh. So, you know, she gives the Instagram thing on. So that lets me know that we need to go on Instagram. But guys, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thank you so much for, you know, reaching out to me. Both of you are, you know, really, really have talked to you before offline and things like that. So a young couple, go and subscribe to the first comment, and hopefully we will have them. Hopefully we'll have them back by next month. And you know, because I think we need to start showcasing that we do have young Black people that are married and doing well and stuff like that. Any last words?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for taking time out to have us on.
All right. So guys, as you know, keep it real. King Gunner forever. I'm out.